Well, hello, everybody out there, wherever you might be. I just thought that I would start doing concerts from my living room, maybe on the last Saturday of the month. At least that's what it is this month, and may well be again in future months. Mainly because I never perform out there in the world anymore. Although, I keep thinking on about bringing a battery powered amp downtown and doing some singing around there, where it smells very much of tear gas these days, all the time, regardless of whether they're actually gassing anybody at the moment. Downtown just smells like tear gas all the time. At least in the parts of the town I'd want to be busking in, near the Justice Center. But I thought I'd do a little show here. Anyway, I've been actually playing the guitar for hours today, which is not something I do most days, sadly. But it's good to have an excuse to practice. My mom used to always be playing the piano for hours a day, and it was always called practicing, even though it was just playing for the love of music primarily. But she intended, well, eventually she'd have a concert, so there was always a concert to practice for sometime in the future, which is helpful to give you reasons to practice. But anyway, it's also, then going through these songs, I see there's so many songs that are related to things that are happening. That's the songs I wrote a long time ago, and sometimes that's even more interesting, doing a song that I wrote a long time ago that is speaking to the current moment. I can see all your comments. If there's anybody with a comment on any of these platforms, I can see them coming up. So if anybody has any questions, comments, song requests, anything like that. And one of the things of particular interest would be if there's a particular song you think that should get the band treatment, because I'm kind of hoping that eventually this crowdfunding link that is running by on the bottom of the screen, davidrovics.com/pandemic sessions. If it actually gets anywhere, then maybe I can hire a bunch of gig economy workers so they can pay the rent for the month of September or something, depending on how the crowdfunder goes, and get an album out of the whole thing. So who knows? We'll see. There's a lot of songs that have never gotten the band B-A-N-D band treatment. Neither have they been banned. We don't really ban stuff around here. It's more like you just ignore them, the Western way of banning. I'm doing this late enough in the day that it's early in the morning in Australia rather than like the middle of the night. So nice to see Paula there from Australia. I wrote this song, I don't know, 10 years ago, something like that. Portland is a town that's in the news much of the time. There are a lot of vegans and there's very little crime. It's a nice, safe place to live. Folks ride bicycles a lot. The winters aren't so cold and the summers aren't so hot. They build houses out of cob. They hang out in the park where you needn't worry about walking after dark. There are a lot of homeless people, but they don't hurt no one. Just be careful of the boys in blue playing with their guns. Yeah, watch out for the cops. 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 You can hang out with the punks with the piercings and tattoos. You can eat out at a food truck any neighborhood you choose. You can dance to Balkan music while you drink a microbrew, chilling in a gay bar with the mayor and his crew. But be careful what you do. Be prepared to get some flack, especially for those who may be male, young, and black. The fact is you do better in Sweet Home Alabama. You're safer there on the old streets of Birmingham. Yeah, watch out for the cops. 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 Yeah, Portland's full of roses, there are flowers everywhere, but for others they've got prisons with some nice electric chairs. You can go downtown, ride the buses there for free, but you never know when you'll get a DWB. A town full of progressives, but such a rotten bunch of cops. Who knows who'll get shot at the next routine traffic stop? When you live in a place like Portland where they tend to act this way, you can just join the police force instead of the KKK. Yeah, watch out for the cops. 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 Now we need some sirens in the background. Watch out for the cops. Woo! Watch out for the cops. Watch out for the cops. Watch out for the cops. So that's I thought I'd do songs that generally had that kind of theme related to police and fires and tear gas. I don't know. Do this one in this key, major, in this tuning they call standard. Let's see. Yeah, leaf blowers. Yep. I should write a song about leaf blowers. I'm actually waiting for one to arrive in the mail soon. I'm planning on. I've never wanted. Well, I've never liked them. They're noisy, and I think people should use rakes. But then again, it never occurred to me that they could be having such practical applications with tear gas, which has changed my whole orientation towards leaf blowers. Now I think the louder, the more powerful, the better. Although I'm getting just a small electric leaf blower in the hopes that that will be sufficient to make some kind of a difference. Because, if I have to spend hundreds on a massive backpack gas-powered one, I might consider that. But hopefully the one I'm getting, it will be sufficient to blow the leaves. I mean, to blow the tear gas. But then now I think the federal officers downtown have been arresting people with leaf blowers. Like, I don't know if they're going to be charging them with weapons, because you can open carry, I believe, in Oregon, right? You can walk around with a gun, but not a leaf blower. Man, that might be criminal at this point. We'll see. What should I do here? I could do another song about the police. How about this is a song I wrote last weekend, if I can remember it. I've been practicing this morning, but not everything. Let's see. No, how does this go? No, I see. I didn't practice that one. Here, we'll just switch to another tuning and do something else I wrote not long ago. Cesar Augusto, they're shooting people with the leaf blowers. Are you saying the police are shooting rubber coated steel bullets at the leaf blowers that they see? Is that what they're doing? Or you're saying the people with the leaf blowers are shooting them point blank? If the latter, I don't mind. I don't know how you would shoot a leaf blower point blank. So I assume you mean they're shooting people with leaf blowers, which is really fucked up. came like a clarion call to illustrate the saying. United we stand, divided we fall. A thin veneer torn by disease shredded the great Khan laid bare. Come from across the seas, now floating in the air, like a corpse that's lying exposed, that all of us now can see. All that the cadaver shows about a society, the veil of fantasy lifted, that gives us at least some idea how another world is possible. And I can hear her breathing now. Like the red blood that flows from the bullet, whether coated in rubber or not. Like the faces you see in the helmet, reflecting the thickening plot. Driven by such a villain, as a thing exponential allows, it says another world is possible. And I can hear her breathing now. Like the pallor on so many faces, on every end of the town, on the murals in so many places, boarded up and long ago shut down, making all the connections between the mule and the plow, that another world is possible. And I can hear her breathing now. Smoke rising up coast to coast, with formations that brighten the skies, like Lord Thomas Jefferson's ghost, his victims no longer disguised, as his visage falls into the river, like the skull of an old sacred cow that says another world is possible. And I can hear her breathing now. Another world is possible. And I can hear her breathing now. Just looking at these comments. Yeah, last night, what happened last night? I'm particularly curious to hear more from Cesar Augusto there about what happened last night, exactly what happened last night. But certainly what happened last night in Portland was thousands of people, many thousands of people came to town. I was there earlier in the afternoon putting up stickers about eviction resistance. Which hopefully some of those people saw and joined my text mob. But there were thousands of people downtown Portland last night, many thousands. And then basically, like following the general trend, folks were shaking the fence that is surrounding the federal courts, the Justice Building, so-called, in downtown Portland. And so then on cue, the guys in the riot gear who never speak, who never say anything if you talk to them, and who were in all their riot gear, started just firing massive amounts of tear gas and other weaponry at the assembled people, who then retreated and threw the canisters back, depending on who you're talking about. And that's basically what's been going on there every night for quite a while now, and that happened again last night. But it was like, by all accounts, one of the biggest crowds they've had. that we've had in town since the protests began after the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Where'd my capo go? Oh, here it is. And yeah, I don't really have a plan for this, but I'm gonna, let's see, how about speaking of Minneapolis. Good, we have more. Just so those of you who are not on the, I'll just summarize what Cesar Augusto is writing on Facebook. And I know those of you who are not watching on whichever Facebook page this is, let's see, the Liberals have been mobilizing to help the militants, and one of their tactics is have the dads bring leaf blowers. Sadly, when the gas started to fly as the dads or leaf blowers moved in, the feds shot directly at them, not on the pavement. In the goggles, at their helmets. The shields had to be used to make sure we didn't lose too many too quickly. The feds have this trick of dropping the gas on their side of the fence, and the leaf blower will come in and redirect it. But then the feds will, yeah, I think he'll write more. He got cut off there. But that is, wow. Yep. So they're so the officers are shooting the leaf blowers and shooting the dads with the leaf blowers, and at their goggles, at their helmets, and at their leaf blowers. I mean, not that we would expect the officers to do anything other than that, when we know also that they're tear gassing and clubbing the wall of moms as well. It's one would hope perhaps that the dads would not be left alone in that case. Gosh. Well, yeah, this is why, in addition to the leaf blower, I got a helmet. Yeah, but I know it's not much help really if they're going to be firing. I got a vest as well. I mean, I'm trying to, I got ear things for the LRAD weapons. I'm trying to get ready. But of course, pretty soon they'll start using live ammunition. Apparently, they have been given permission. I mean, that's what the mayor heard, was that they had permission, to use live ammo if they want to. The feds, Cesar says, the feds will unload on them, and the umbrellas have to be mounted on the fences. Yeah, the umbrellas. There's so many. I see so many echoes of Hong Kong in these in the protests in downtown, and one of the useful things about the internet, easier to share tactics. Peter Alsop, hello, Peter. Are people still lynched in America? What happens when they die? When he begged for his mother to save him, was he resisting arrest when he cried? And how does the lynch mob roam free when we already know who they are? The men who murdered George Floyd and then drove off in their police cars. Live with such savage injustice. With every new day the earth turns, I'm left with no reason to wonder as I watch Minneapolis burn. Are people still lynched in America? How many in just the past weeks? From Georgia to Minnesota, as the pandemic spikes and peaks. Did you see him pinned down for 8 minutes? Did you see the knee on his neck? Did you see the police station on fire? Did you smell the smoldering wreck? As the National Guard marches in, watch the wheels of history churn in the land of Philando Castile as we watch Minneapolis burn. Are people still lynched in America? And do the poor still die of disease? Are the prisons still full of debtors? Do bodies still hang from the trees? Do the workers still live by the highways, still struggle to come up with rent? Do families still get evicted when the last of their credit is spent? Do you see all the people who just had to find out what might there be left to learn from the flames that rise from the target as we watch Minneapolis burn? Are people still lynched in America? And what happens when they die? When he begged for his mother to save him, was he resisting arrest when he cried? I'm just looking at this screen. Good. Anything I should comment on? I don't know if the guy, I was like, somebody commented that I got some lyrics wrong in this song, which is true on the recording and the original version. Got her birthplace wrong. So, I feel compelled to do this song with the correct lyrics that aren't accurate. Special Agent Ford got on TV to put a price on someone's head. $2 million alive or dead. Enemy number one, those who brought us COINTELPRO. It's the FBI's most wanted, a real live cop show. It's not enough to kill them, have them jailed old and gray. You gotta double the bounty for the one that got away. But if Assata is a terrorist, what does that make you? She was raised in Alabama in an apartheid state. Up north she found another shade of hate. Terrorized by racism in schools and in the street. Terrorized by policemen for giving children food to eat. Terrorized by agents sent to disrupt and kill on sight. Terrorized for daring to stand her ground and fight. But if Assata is a terrorist, what does that make you? One cop was dead, Assata's hands were in the air. She didn't fire a shot, the all-white jury didn't care. After years alone in a basement cell, her comrades broke her out of solitary hell. They had the biggest manhunt ever, but in 1984, she was safe on the Cuban shore. And if Assata is a terrorist, what does that make you? If Assata is a terrorist, what does that make you? I'm just going through this in alphabetical order and doing songs related to police and fires, and here's another one. The prisons are, of course, along with the slaughterhouses for the prisons and farm workers and slaughterhouse workers are some of the ones dying the most, along with nursing homes. Here's a song about a man who's been in prison for the past 24 years. He's potentially up for parole next year. Alvaro Luna Hernandez started life with a shorted hand, growing up in Texas on occupied land. His troubles with the law and with the sheriff of Alpine resulted from a racist gang crossing every line of respect for human decency. Vicious thugs in blue who have ruled the hills of Texas since long before 52. In the middle of the 20th, when Alvaro was born, it wasn't long before the first time that he was torn from the streets of Alpine to a windowless cell, when the cops kicked in his head till no one could tell if he'd live or die, and somehow he was breathing still when the morning sun was shining in the Texas hills. Alvaro Luna Hernandez grew up to lead the fight against police corruption and for human rights. Falsely accused of murder, incessantly harassed, a young life in constant danger, quickly flying past. So on the day a cop came to his house, pointed his gun, Alvaro knocked it out of the officer's hands, and he did run. Alvaro Luna Hernandez hid out underground after the biggest manhunt in West Texas. They fired many rounds. He managed to surrender without being shot, and that was the last breath out of prison that he ever got. The trial was a sham, and he was given 50 years, sentenced by the machine to be ground up in the gears. Since 1996, a quarter century ago, in solitary confinement, they've kept Alvaro. He's now lived to be an old man, and whether he ever leaves, justice in the USA exists only for the thieves who came and stole this country, declared it to be theirs. Slave masters in power, Chicanos in the crosshairs. Alvaro Luna Hernandez started life with a shorted hand, growing up in Texas on occupied land. Just some songs about cops and fires and prison. Behind these prison walls, there's a man who's won awards for the work that he has done, for all that it affords, such as the knowledge of the horrors committed in our name. They can't stop the message, so the messenger gets blamed. Behind these prison walls, in solitary confinement, in a land of rolling hills and royalty and other such refinement, is someone who is a hero to whistleblowers everywhere, who help them tell the world of the crimes of Tony Blair. Behind these prison walls, you will find a mortal man. The reason why we know what happened in Afghanistan, when the soldiers of the empire, whose sunset long before, were torturing civilians in their terror war. Behind these prison walls is a part of WikiLeaks, an eloquent orator, but you won't hear him speak. Locked away in silence, one who knows too well how those in power act when there's another war to sell. Behind these prison walls is one who stands accused of exactly what offenses the U.S. has refused to say precisely which, or to try to clear the mist, or to explain how he's not the same as the other journalists. Behind these prison walls is a person they deprive of most of the things in life that keep us all alive. A person being tortured as we stand here now for revealing the war crimes. Why, when, where, how? Behind these prison walls, our very right to be informed of what the hell is going on is the teacup in this storm. With knowledge there is power, so the solution by the crown, a 24-hour-a-day indefinite lockdown behind these prison walls. I'm in B. That was behind these prison walls. Here's another one I wrote recently, which is for the occasion of Independence Day, as they call it. The day that we celebrate the pro-slavery uprising led by genocidal killers. As I walk down the streets of this city, see the desperate looks everywhere, the thin faces across the society, the long and the lost and the long-distance stares, as I call the employment department, and the line is once more occupied in this country that was born on the 4th of July. As I hear of the nooses and lynchings, as I listen to the president speak, upholding foundations of enslavement and slaughter beneath a destroyed mountain peak, as he talks of restoring America while ignoring all those who have died in this nation that was born on the 4th of July. When I see the masked faces around me, across from the policemen lined up in a row, watching them once more astound me as they fire their weapons wherever we go, shooting reporters and legal observers as the curfew is once more defied in this nation that was born on the 4th of July. As I hear all the voices so loudly shouting, empty the prisons, defund the police, reasoning so very soundly, occupied by this army, how could we ever have peace? As I hear of the dead from LA to New York, a catastrophe no one can deny in this nation that was born on the 4th of July. As I survey the wreckage around me, all the boarded up windows of the stores that have closed, as I take in the scene that surrounds me, all the inequities starkly exposed that tug at the roots of this country, which began with a war that was based on a lie when this nation was born on the 4th of July. When this nation was born on the 4th of July. Now, we're having requests. Excellent. And of course, I'll sing St. Patrick's Battalion. We have a request from Mexico for St. Patrick's Battalion. This is my favorite thing about being me, pretty much, at least as far as the internet goes, is seeing every time I turn on the computer some other wonderful message on one of those videos of St. Patrick Battalion saying, "Long live Ireland." I dare say I've done more for the reputation of Ireland than most musicians. There were several Poles, Germans, Americans, and English as well in the St. Patrick Battalion. My name is John Riley. I'll have your ear only a while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go. Enter the army and slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. It was there in the pueblos and hillsides that I saw the mistake I had made. Part of a conquering army with the morals of a bayonet blade. So in the midst of these poor dying Catholics, screaming children, the burning stench of it all, myself and 200 Irishmen decided to rise to the call. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We marched neath the green flag of St. Patrick, emblazoned with Erin go Bragh, bright with the harp and the shamrock, and Libertad para Republica. Just 50 years after Wolftone, 5,000 miles away, the Yanks called us a legion of strangers, and they can talk as they may. But from Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. 5 major battles. Churubusco was the last. Overwhelmed by the cannons from Boston, we fell after each mortar blast. Most of us died on that hillside in the service of the Mexican state. So far from our occupied homeland, we were heroes and victims of fate. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. Well, now we're not in alphabetical order anymore, but I'm going to go back to B. I don't know what's so great about B necessarily, but it's easy enough to scroll through this. I should maybe think about set lists, but well, this is related. I have a a dream foreclosed. Gosh, I don't remember that one anymore. But I can do related songs. How about this one? This is we're looking at according to the business press here in the U.S., 20 to 28 million evictions coming up by the end of September, and that's who knows what's going on in many other parts of the world where they're also facing tremendous. 10,000 yuppies just moved here. 10,000 others came last year. The rent has doubled since I moved in. Each month I take it on the chin. Each month I wonder, how many more can I stay in Portland before I move into my car or end up somewhere behind bars? 10,000 yuppies say don't complain now that the city is in the fast lane. It's just the market and it knows best. That's how the bankers built the West. So just get rich, you can stay, otherwise just go away. There's no room here for us, holding on under the bus. I'm just a renter, this ain't my town. Might as well just burn it down for all I care. Ten 10,000 yuppies think it's great to invest in Portland real estate. Keep Portland weird, they like to say, but that was over yesterday. Of their achievements, they're so proud, living lives in some cloud. But unlimited data will get you nowhere if you can't afford to care. I'm just a renter, ain't my town. Might as well just burn it down for all I care. $10,000 yuppies, and on each block they're flipping houses and taking stock. Where's the next place that can transform tents and mansions the new norm? They like TED Talks, they like greed, they like wine bars, they like weed, they like bike lanes, they want more. They're the face of the new class war. I'm just a renter, this ain't my town. Might as well just burn it down for all I care. For all I care. For all I care. For for all I care. Oh, we got all sorts of the doctor is saying a lot there. Taking up the screen. Let's see. What am I gonna do here? I'm just gonna look around, do a couple more. There's if you're in Portland, go to Artists for Rent Control and sign up for text notifications so that you can help me stop the evictions before they start. It's gonna work. If enough of us show up, the cops are just going to back off. That's what they do, actually, in most cases, in many countries. Their relatives are getting evicted too. Don't forget that. But when you go out to protest, remember to wear your mask. Wear a mask for any task, especially if you're indoors or there's not much space from my face to yours. If you care, then you wear a barrier of some kind between your face and mine. Over time, you will find it's just about as hard as remembering your credit card. Go on strike as you like. But out there on the picket line, keep some space between the signs. Go to the mall, have a ball. But if you're there to shop or loot the place, don't forget to cover your face. Sanitize, watch out for spies, undercover cops, provocateurs, divide and conquer connoisseurs. Drive a tank, rob a bank, just make sure you dress appropriately as you walk off with the money. Go downtown, and burn down the police station, but be wise and wash the tear gas from your eyes. Yes, wear a mask. Yeah, it definitely needs backing vocals, Paula. I completely agree. It's, most of these songs I'm doing, incidentally, as you may be inferring there, have not been recorded with a band. This one has. But if you go to davidrovics.com/pandemic sessions, you can help make it possible for me to record an album with the band again. If you're not one of those 30 million unemployed people about to lose your unemployment money, or those other millions who never got their unemployment money in the first place, like me. But if you're one of those people with a job, or really one of those people who are somehow profiting immensely from the pandemic, you can send your money this way, and we will make sure to employ a bunch of gig workers and make an album to overthrow capitalism with. It's part of the process, I promise. I wrote this last summer. About somebody who's been in the news a lot lately. I'm so glad to hear people are singing along there in out there in the world. In Mexico. Love to go to Mexico again someday. A friend of mine from San Diego retired in Chiapas, and he's just living off of Social Security and loving life, getting all his health back. When it's 2019, but it feels like 1933. When your eyes are open, when you know the history, when your parents lived through things that looked so much like this, all the indications impossible to miss, when you've sought for your whole life to make the earth a better place, and you once again see the rising of the master race, when you know that they are coming, when they announced it in advance, when you know for many people this will be their last chance, then you may ask the question, what can one person do when the time to act is now? And now it's up to you. It's 2019, but it feels like 1933, when indefinite detention is the new reality for so many children to whom you did not give birth, when you see they're just as precious as every other child on earth, when they're opening the camps not used since the war, where families were imprisoned decades before, when Kristallnacht is coming, they announced it on the news, when the writing's on the wall, when you can see the fuse, then you may ask the question, what can one person do when the time to act is now? And now it's up to you. When it's 2019, but it feels like 1933, when you know rallies aren't helping and silence is complicity, when you know where the kids are kept locked inside their cells, when you see approaching the future this foretells, when they're coming for your neighbors, when they've even said what day they plan to put them all in buses and take them away, when you know where they keep the buses, you've been to the parking lot, perhaps a whole lot of petrol bombs is the best move that you've got, then you may ask the question, what can one person do when the time to act is now? And now it's up to you. When it's 2019, but it feels like 1933. What else am I gonna do here? It's just about been an hour. I figured I'd do an hour-long show, and it's lovely to see people watching. I do broadcasts most days of the week. Open mic on Mondays, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT. Everybody is very welcome to sign up. If you got a poem or a song, please sign up. We'd love to see some new faces there. You can look for that at davidrovics.com/POMM for Pandemic Open Mic Mondays. It's wonderful to see all these connections being made, people talking about how Black Lives Matter, and then if Black Lives Matter, then affordable housing matters. Like here in Portland, you can't, an average black family from the United States cannot afford a 2-bedroom apartment in Portland at the market rate, like the place I live in right now, right here, that I'm recording from. The average black family in the United States cannot afford to live in this apartment. And that's because of capitalism and the unregulated housing market. And if Black Lives Matter, then unions matter. Here's a song about what happens when you don't have unions, when you have mostly, I mean, did you know 87% of slaughterhouse workers in this country are people of color? At the chicken nugget factory in Hamlet, North Carolina, almost all the workers were black women. The place had never been inspected. The manager had no interest in their lives. Neither did the company. This is what happened. Sometimes I walk the aisles of the grocery store, and I think about a day some 20 years before, where this chicken came from south of the Mason-Dixon line, the Imperial Foods Factory in Hamlet, Caroline. The 3rd day of September, 1991, where for so many good people was the day the race was run. Sometimes I walk the aisles and I can hear the screams, those blasted by hot oil, when old hose ruptured at the seams of those blasted by hot oil. When the fireball arose while more oil fueled the fire, being blasted from the hose. More oil fueled the fire. The room filled up with smoke when those who weren't already dead then began to choke. Sometimes I walk the aisles. I think about the padlocks on the fire doors, barred and blocked. The owner didn't want his workers stealing chickens out the back. It's a right-to-work state. They complain to get the sack. So Tyson saved some money, and workers lost their lives. Once the fire was put out, the number dead was 25. Sometimes I walk the aisles, somehow feel ashamed. Yet 11 years of operation, inspectors never came. Inspectors never came to look to see if they did anything according to the book. Sometimes I walk the aisles and I wonder to myself, how many people die to put these nuggets on the shelf? Sometimes I walk the aisles. That's what happens. Now there must be some particularly appropriate song for me to end with. I'll do this one. Thanks for all listening. I'm going to make this a habit. I think every... lost audio? Hopefully that's not on my end. Make this a last Saturday of the month habit, doing this concert from my living room at 1 in the afternoon Pacific time on the last Saturday of the month. It gives me a good excuse to practice songs that I've been writing lately and songs that I wrote a long time ago, and just kind of giving me a chance to bone up on them because I just don't do much performing these days. I'd like to go. I don't know if you got any opinions on this, Cesar, if you got the audio back, but I would like to go downtown and play downtown, but kind of worried about, people aren't doing that these days, and you can, give people COVID-19 by singing, right? And I don't want to go downtown and sing with a mask on, so I don't know, maybe I got a microphone, one of those that straps onto your face that, like the pop stars use. I have one of those, like the actors use in theaters and sometimes. But, and it would fit potentially underneath a face shield. So that might be the way to do it. I don't know. I saw there's somebody watching with named Modoc, but anyway, I don't know if you're related to any Modocs, but this is I'll close with a statue song related to some of the statues that have been coming down here in Portland and elsewhere that I wrote a few weeks ago. Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. When he got here, he did what he came to do. He hacked off people's arms in his search for gold, of women, men, and children, young and old. George Washington was the richest ruler of a vast colony. He ran with an iron glove. Who went ahead with all the plans he made, with the British out to expand the slave trade. And if human liberation is the place where we are bound, then first we pull these statues to the ground. Andrew Jackson drove thousands across the plain. With famine and death, he left the grasses stained. A proud racist and a killer ruling a slave state. If the society were sane, there would be no debate. Albert Pike was a general who invaded Mexico, where they had just ended human bondage, But abolition could not stand, and Pike was on the side who thought that freedom must be violently defied. And if human liberation is the place where we are bound, Then first we pull these statues to the ground. Ulysses S. Grant was just another in a line of the overseers of imperial decline, who ordered his vast armies to go deport the Modoc people and kill all the buffalo. From Theodore to Franklin to the president today, an empire ruled the American way. The pedestals are broken, they can't bear the weight. Such a beautiful country, such a failed state. If human liberation is the place where we are bound, then first we pull these statues to the ground. Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and when he got here, he did what he came to do. I'll stop there, and it's lovely to see all you people watching from all over the world. It's my favorite thing about the internet. And please join the open mic. Every Monday I do an open mic at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT, 7 p.m. in Berlin, in the middle of the night. Terribly inconvenient time in Australia and China and elsewhere, and that, you can't please them all. But I'll be doing, I think I'll do this concert on the internet from my living room at the last Saturday of every month, and just to give me a chance to practice. And I also do concerts on other people's Facebook pages and stuff. I can do that if you're interested. And yeah, join the open mic. Come join the open mic on Mondays, and then I do interviews with people on most other days of the week at the same time on most of these same platforms wherever you're watching. And as it says on the bottom of the screen, at davidrovics.com/pandemic sessions or donorbox.com/pandemic sessions, you can donate to my upcoming album. If it gets off the ground, and I hope it does, then I hope I'll make an album with a band. But that can be an expensive prospect, and I want to make sure to pay everybody a living wage because they're not getting any money from anywhere else. So, there's a lot of musicians in this town who are going to be homeless soon. But if they can record an album with me, that'll put off that homelessness by at least a month or two. And so there's, yeah. And if you're in Portland, then I hope to see you sometime in the near future downtown and or elsewhere in town. And if you're not in Portland, then I hope to see you on the internet sometime soon. Keep in touch. Don't pay the rent. Mutual aid will get us through wherever in the world you are. It's the same principle. Although, some parts of the world you don't need to worry about these things so much because you have a competent government. There are those out there. We're finding out which ones those are. There are very few of them, but there are a few. And this is not one of them. It's so much worse than incompetent. Okay, well, you know that already. Take care, everybody. Great hanging out with you, seeing the comments, and it's been a pleasure, actually. I never expect it will be when I'm just staring at a screen, but then you realize there are really actually people out there. And then it feels kind of like, doing a concert, more or less. I'm getting used to it. Who needs applause? They'll figure out how to work that into these broadcasts. I'm sure they already did, but I don't need the fake applause like at the baseball stadiums. That's weird. Okay. And yeah, thank you all. Take care. See you around. Bye for now.